Let's draw these spooky cats together, already the third tutorial in a mini Halloween series. I will walk you through the entire process step by step. Feel free to pause the video and catch up or replay any parts whenever you need. I draw on 9 by 9 inches canvas. More technical details are in the description or even better on my Patreon with more drawing tips. We will make 2 rounds of sketches, first very rough and then second more precise. Or make it easier and grab the outline or stem brush with this sketch on my Patreon, put it into your canvas and go from there. There will you find sketches also for the other tutorials and ready to use full stems. Let's get started. For sketching, I'm using dry ink brush. Begin with the head in the middle of your canvas. Then draw the line of the head. And now the big base of the head. Here can peek one ear. And the top of the head. Now the face. Eyes may be like that. My cat is angry or annoyed about the tiny mouse resting on her head, but feel free to adjust the entire design to your own preferences. Make the cat smile if you want. Change colors or shapes. You can still apply what I will teach you here. Draw some lines over and over. This helps build skills with sketching and define lines and shapes. You can still change it in the next sketch or even in color. This is just about basic shapes and positions. Now the tiny body. And a big fluffy tail around. Now the tiny mouse. And put some flowers or leaves on the head. Lower the opacity of your sketch and fix placement if needed using the arrow tool. Create a new layer above and make more precise sketch. These sketches won't be a part of your final drawing, so don't stress too much. Still, the more precise you are now, the smoother and easier your coloring will be later. You can follow just final sketch, but I like to see both, so I merge them now. Lower the opacity and create a new layer. Move it below the sketch. Select the dark gray color and white charcoal brush. Draw the cat. This brush is great for bold, quick drawing. Use different sizes. Switch for a dry ink brush and draw some fur around. Or change the main shape if you want. Now create a new layer above. Select a darker color and again the white charcoal brush. Draw the big tail. Now again dry ink for some fur around. Use different sizes. Create a new layer at the very bottom and draw the tail also here. With the pink color, draw inside the ear. And also with the dark gray color, some fur around. Create a new layer above, tap on the clipping mask. Using the medium airbrush, draw a shade inside the ear. Now the head. Create a new layer at the very bottom. Select the bold purple or pink color. Draw the head base and hold your pen on the screen to get a more precise shape. Try to tap with your finger on the screen for an even better shape. Drag the color inside. Using the arrow tool and the wrap option, play with the shape if you want. Create a new layer below the base and draw the top. Create a new layer above, tap on the clipping mask. With a darker color, draw a shade on the side. Create another layer for highlights. Select bright pink and noise brush, big size of the brush. On the edges, use smaller brush size. Now tap on the base and create a new layer above and clipping mask. Rather turn off the sketch and draw with a smaller brush size the edges around the base. Create a new layer below and using a bigger size, draw gently on the sides. Create another layer, select the dark color and medium airbrush. Draw a shade here. Soften it using an eraser, the same brush. I like to draw a strong shade and then soften it with an eraser. I have a better control over the final results. Now create a new layer above the cat base and clipping mask. Draw a shade under the head. And also on the side of the cat, it makes her more rounded. And also behind the tail. Soften it with an eraser. Hope it isn't too dark on the screen, however, feel free to use any colors you like. Create a new layer above the tail and draw a shade also here. Select the bright color and the noise brush. Draw the highlights on the tail. For some details, use different brush sizes. If you have fun so far, check out my other spooky tutorials on YouTube and Patreon. Now the face. Turn on the sketch and create a new layer below the tail. Select the white color and medium airbrush. Draw the eyes. In a new layer and using pink color, draw the nose. Turn off the sketch and fix it if needed. Take your time, play with the shapes. I'm going to fix the eyes. Feel free to make any adjustments anytime you need. This is much better. Create a new layer above and tap on the clipping mask. Select dark pink and using a bigger brush size, draw a shade inside the eyes on the inner sides. In a new layer, draw black pupils. Select the green and noise brush, draw the iris on the edges. And also with even brighter and even smaller brush size. Draw a white dot in a new layer above using a medium airbrush. And with the big size, put here a touch of light. Another layer above, draw a bit of shade here. In another layer, draw those angry lines above the eyes using the noise brush. Now go back on the cat base layer and create a new above. With a brighter color and the noise brush, draw some highlights. For details, use the smaller brush size. If you want, go back on the base and draw more gray fur around. In a shade layer, draw lines around the eyes. And with a bigger brush size, draw shades about the angry lines. And behind the nose and everywhere else you want. Give it more dynamic. Now, some details on the nose. Create a new layer above, tap on the clipping mask. Select a dark pink and draw a gentle shade on the bottom. And highlights on the top. Also nostrils. And black shade inside. Pay attention to details. Create a new layer on the very top. With a small brush size, draw fur peeking out from under the head and all around the cat. Make her shaggy or fluffy or rather smooth if you want. And maybe make stronger those angry lines. Draw some knotted or tangled hairs. All those details make your cat truly unique. And now continue with the white or bright color. Okay, this was the first part. If you want to go further and draw also a mouse and leaves on the head, background, and special touch of highlights, join me on my Patreon. You can get there also as a free member, but feel free to explore other tiers with amazing goodies in here. See you there!